Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech Design Teach. Today's lesson is going to be on how to add your elevation roof to your elevation views. Now, before we begin doing that, we're going to do a bit of a repeat of what we had done before when we were creating these elevations for our floor plans. We're going to copy the roof from this position, which is linked to a paper space viewport in a title block. And we're going to copy the roof 4 times to the right. Now, as before, we're going to use our rotate tool and rotate these appropriately like we have done to these floor plans seen to our left. Okay, as before, we want these to line up with each other. So I'm going to be creating a 25-foot line to be used as an anchor to move these into position. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to erase these lines here. And we're going to be copying the elevation views under the roof plan, the roof plans that we just copied and rotated. So I'm going to be using line, and I'm going to be drawing a line from this footprint, not the overhang. It's very important that we're using the footprint of the roof plan. We're going to come down and not click but touch the endpoint to create an O track so I know where to stop this line. Click. We're going to take these elevations, copy them, go to this intersection, and copy. Okay, now, this one should be lined up, this first one, but I have very little faith that the rest of these are. So what we need to do is, again, draw a line down, touch, O track, and as you can see, it's not working. So what we're going to do is move this to here. Do the same thing here. Create an O track. And in this case, we're going to go use this one. So I can snap to the very left. Whoops. Okay, so now if I drew some lines, it looks like everything is lined up the way that it should be. If this doesn't get lined up, nothing is going to work later. Okay, everything looks good. I'm going to take these lines and erase them. Now that we're ready to go, we're going to go into the hub, into content, find roof pitch. Now this file, TDJ roof pitch and slope template, this is found in the elevation views. So click into elevation views and you will find it here under roof pitch as a submodule. Click this open, download this file. Say ignore. And we're going to copy this. Right click, left click, clipboard copy, and go to our drawing and paste it. Okay, so here we are. Now, if you remember the roof pitch and slope, or it's called the roof plan exercise that I showed you, the hip roofs were calling for a 12-12 pitch on all sides. Now, you don't have to use that for your drawing. You've got 5 different ones you can choose from, right? From very short to very steep. I'm going to be using a middle of the road here. I'm going to use the 12/8 pitch, just because I like to do the average of things. And I'm going to be copying this one down. Okay. Now, all of these come default with a overhang of 1 foot. So this may need to be modified for some, but not for others. Now, when you look at my roof, I've got a 1.5 foot overhang. I've done this all over the perimeter of my roof. So I need to modify this to match. So I'm going to select everything except the wall. Make sure ortho is on. And move this with the move tool out 6 inches. For me. Some may need to move it out a whole extra foot to make it 2 feet, depending on what kind of overhang you've picked. So let's double check it. Okay, so now it's correct. And I also need to mirror I don't need to mirror the symbol. Find the middle, erase the source. No, because I need it. Okay, so now we're ready to get going with our roof. So what we're going to do to start first, when I put the first slope on the drawing, I'm going to select the roof slope and the symbol, and I'm going to copy it from the wall endpoint and go to my wall endpoint on my drawing and click. So that's my reference point to snap this into position. I also need to do the opposite effect on this side of this vertical line. Copy from this endpoint here. And we're also going to be doing the same thing on the end. Here and here. I need to add a roof slope for every vertical line I see on my elevation above ground. Alright, now that I've done that, I'm going to connect this to make it a full hip slope, like you see here. So I can use my fillet, pick radius, select 0, and then select these 2 lines. That will extend them and have them meet up and join one another. They'll stop once they connect. Now, we need to project these ridge lines down as well, because we've shown this slope. We need to show this hip slope, and we also need to show this valley to complete this elevation roof. So what we're going to do is draw a line from this endpoint down. Doesn't matter how long. And what I'll do is I'll also copy it from here to here and to here. Okay. So, to project this ridge line down, we're going to draw a line from this intersection over to this perpendicular snap. And then we're going to be trimming this part of my hip. So this is the boundary trim. We also no longer need this line anymore. So we'll erase it. Next, we're going to be lengthening this line all the way up and cut it off when it meets this vertical line. So the way I like to do this, here's a new command. If you go into modify, we have what's called lengthen. So select lengthen and then pick dynamic. And then you can grab the line and just continue it on the angle it's already projecting on. You don't need to turn ortho off. And then just drag it out and then just trim the rest. Like that. And then what we're going to be doing is drawing a line from this endpoint horizontally here. Now, this line is no longer needed, and nor is this line. Okay, so to complete, so we're showing our valley here. We're showing this hip slope here. We just need to finish this one off right here. So this line, this hip slope line, has to continue up until it meets this ridge line. So we're going to do another lengthen, another dynamic, and we'll just stretch it off, and then we'll trim the rest. Like that. And there's our roof. Now, we're going to want to fix this up a bit. We're just going to be selecting these lines that are hidden in yellow. And we're going to be placing those back on layer 0. Okay, so the next step will be to connect the bottom. So we'll draw a line over from one side to the next. And from this endpoint all the way over here to create your E. Now, as you can see, like I mentioned before, this is going to cover some of the height of your elevation wall. We don't normally ever snap the bottom of this roof up into the top of this wall. That's not how it would be done in construction. So we're doing something a little more realistic here. And I'd like you to do what I'm about to show you for one of your elevations only, is I want you to select the top of the wall here. I'd like you to put it on the roof detail layer. And we're also going to be trimming off these lines, and we're going to be redrawing them. So I'm going to replace that one. I'm going to be putting it on roof detail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it from here to here to here and to here. Right? So this is just, you only need to do this on one view, but this shows us, this is how I'm going to check to make sure that you snap your roof properly. So we're just, normally we'll just delete all that information, but for one view, I'd like you to include this. And there's a mark for including this, okay? And that completes that roof. Now, one thing to notice, we are covering up the window here a bit. So, well, actually, I think this is a sliding patio door, excuse me. So what we can do is we can just move it down a bit if you want, because remember this is grayed here, so there is a bit of space. So if you want, you can, if you're having this problem, you can just move this down by about an inch or so, and that's okay, like that. And then what you can do is just trim that. We'll add a line here, and we'll just put it on that roof detail like this. Okay, great. So moving on, we're going to do one more roof. Now I'm not going to do all 4 because the video is going to take way too long. It'll probably take me 35 minutes to do everything. So I think after this second part of the lesson where I just complete another roof, you should have enough information to complete your roofs just fine. So again, this will be kind of like a review of what I just did. I think this one will end up being maybe a little simpler than this one, but it's good that you'll see 2. So what we're going to do, again, select and copy. And what I can do, because I need one exactly on the opposite side, I could just mirror this one. Just take this, mirror, find the midpoint, the triangle snap, erase the source, no. Okay, great. So this one should be fairly easy. I'm just going to draw a line from this endpoint down, because I need to pick up where my ridge lines are going to be. So this one, lengthen, dynamic, trim, erase that line, and then we're going to draw a ridge line over like this. Now we need to also draw a line from here, because we need to extend this roof slope all the way up to here, right? Because we're going to be meeting, because we're sloping into this ridge line that runs vertically. So we're going to be doing another lengthen, dynamic, and then trim. Erase that line. Okay, so the last thing left to do is show this hip slope here. And the easiest way to do this, because I want all these hip lines have to be on the same angle. I know this one is, so I could just take this one and copy it from this endpoint and snap it to here, and it meets that intersection perfectly. So all I have to do is trim off. Whoops. Let's go back. And bring this back to here. And we've got it. Then erase this line. Put this on layer 0. then we're going to, in this case, I said we'd erase this line, and then we just trim the rest. Because we're only showing those hidden detail lines on one of the roofs, like this one here. Alright, and then I would continue on and I would do the same thing and then finish off these two other ones. I'm not going to do those ones because, again, the videos are going to run too long. But that is how you can complete your roof plan very simply. So try in your roof plan elevations, I should say. And the next time we meet, we'll talk about adding hatching, which is exterior finishes to your roof shingles and your exterior, whether it's brick, stucco, or siding. So until that time, take care and have a great day.